Picture a family vacation at a luxury Florida resort. You can hear kids laughing and splashing in a massive pool. It's the perfect getaway until a single moment shatters that picture. A mother watching her child play suddenly turns into an aggressor. In a flash of anger, she allegedly takes matters into her own hands, targeting another woman's 6 year old son. Now, this isn't just any angry parent. The woman at the center of this firestorm is Tiffany Griffith, a 36-year-old former police officer. Even more shocking, she was once a celebrated school resource officer who taught high schoolers about the dangers of bullying. One police department post even praised her for educating high school freshmen on the negative consequences of bullying and sexting. She was a figure of authority, someone trained to de escalate conflict, and a public advocate for protecting kids. So what really happened on December 19th of 2024 at the Gaylord Palms Resort that led to her arrest for felony child abuse? Was she a protective mother pushed past her breaking point, defending her special needs child from harm? Or did a former cop trained to enforce the law violently cross the line from a protector to a perpetrator? Today we're breaking down the full story, the video evidence, and the stunning irony of the ex-cop mom whose pool rage was caught on camera. It was just after 4:30 in the afternoon at the Gaylord Palms Resort in Kissimmee, Florida, an upscale sprawling vacation spot. The pool was packed with families. According to a witness, statements given to the Osceola County Sheriff's Office, 3 children were playing in the water. Among them was Tiffany Griffith's son, described by his family as nonverbal and autistic. What started as typical horseplay began to change. Witnesses reported that the splashing became aggressive from where she was watching. Tiffany Griffith allegedly saw her son get dunked underwater by a 6-year-old boy. In that instant, something snapped. Her maternal instinct, or maybe something else entirely, took over. She got up and headed for the water, but not just to get her son. According to the arrest affidavit, a witness saw her walk calmly towards the children before the situation exploded. Deputies were soon called to the resort for a battery involving a child. What they found was a chaotic scene, with one child visibly distraught and a mother's vacation spiraling into a legal battle. The seconds that followed are the core of this entire case, captured on the resort surveillance cameras and described in detail in police reports. After getting into the pool, Tiffany Griffith allegedly started yelling at the 6-year-old boy she believed had dunked her son. Then she acted. The Osceola County Sheriff's Office stated that she placed her hands on the victim's shoulders and forcefully dunked him underwater for several seconds. Some reports put the duration at 2 to 4 seconds. Security footage reportedly shows Griffith wading over to the boy and holding him down in the water. When the boy came up, he was visibly upset and had a nosebleed. He immediately got out of the pool and ran to his parents. The confrontation wasn't over. Griffith then allegedly started screaming at the boy's mother before another man intervened and led Griffith away. When deputies found and interviewed Griffith, she was quick to bring up her old job. The police report notes she says she could recite the Miranda rights herself. Due to being a former law enforcement officer, at first she claimed she only went into the pool to get her son and talk to the other parents. But when the deputy told her they had already reviewed the video, her story appeared to change. Her simple defense was, "I was protecting my son." Tiffany Griffith was arrested and charged with aggravated child abuse, a serious felony in Florida. This charge immediately brings up a critical question. What separates a parent's angry overreaction from a felony? In Florida, aggravated child abuse involves factors that make the crime more severe. Think of it like this. A regular offense is one thing, but an aggravated offense is like bringing a weapon to a fight. In this case, the law can see holding a child underwater as the weapon. The act itself, one that could reasonably be expected to cause serious injury. is what escalates a bad decision into a felony, regardless of whether the worst case scenario happens. During a court hearing, Griffith's attorney tried to argue that she might not have been responsible for the boy's nosebleed. The judge's response was sharp, asking if forcible submerging a child wasn't sufficient on its own. The attorney then withdrew the argument. This exchange shows exactly how the court sees it. The act itself, the forcible submersion, was the crime, regardless of the nosebleed. To make things more complicated for her defense, hotel security told deputies that alcohol was a possible factor. In the incident, in the eyes of the law, this wasn't just disciplining another person's child. It was an alleged assault on a minor that put his life at risk. This is where the story gets incredibly complicated. On one hand, you have Griffith's words to the police, "I was protecting my son." Her husband testified that she was afraid her son, who was nonverbal, could have been in danger. Any parent can understand the fierce, primal urge to protect their children, especially one who can't call out for help. This is the narrative of a mother's love twisting into a desperate, misguided act. But then you look at the other side. This is a woman who worked in law enforcement from 2013 to 2018. She was a school resource officer. For a regular parent, this might be seen as a moment of panic, like a home cook accidentally starting a grease fire and throwing water on it. But Griffith was a former officer, which is like being a trained firefighter in that kitchen. She was expected to know how to use the fire extinguisher to de-escalate, not pour gasoline on the flames. The irony is stunning. It's like a career firefighter being arrested for arson. She was the very person tasked with teaching kids how to prevent the fire of bullying. Yet she stands accused of starting one by physically overpowering a 6-year-old. This background creates a much higher standard. A civilian parent might panic, but a former officer is expected to assess a situation and respond proportionately. The surveillance video, as described by police, doesn't sound like a frantic rescue. It allegedly shows a woman acting deliberately before forcefully submerging a child. This suggests a punishment, not a protection. It raises a disturbing question. Did her law enforcement training, instead of helping her de-escalate, give her a twisted sense of authority to punish a child she decided was guilty? Following her arrest on December 19th, Tiffany Griffith was booked into the Osceola County Jail. After an initial hearing, a judge set her bond at $20,000, which she posted for her release. The conditions are strict. She's to have no contact with the 6-year-old victim or his family. She's banned from the Gaylord's Palm Resort, and she is not allowed to consume any alcohol. While her defense attorney is trying to frame her actions as a mother protecting her autistic son, the prosecution has so far focused on the violent nature of the act itself. During her arrest process, Griffith reportedly made spontaneous statements expressing remorse, which could play a role as the case moves forward. The public reaction, as you'd expect, has been intense. The story touches on so many raw nerves: parental rights, disciplining other people's children, the conduct of law enforcement, and the challenges of navigating public spaces with special needs kids. It's a case where empathy for a protective mom crashes head-on with the shocking image of an adult overpowering a small child. So we'll circle back to the central question. Was Tiffany Griffith a panicked mother acting on pure protective instinct, or a former cop who used aggression and force to settle a playground squabble? The facts are that a 6-year-old boy was left with a bloody nose after being held underwater, and a woman whose job it once was to prevent bullying is now facing a child abuse charge. The defense argues this was a mother's gut reaction to seeing her nonverbal autistic son in what she perceived as danger. The prosecution points to video of a forceful, punitive act that put a child's life at risk. The irony of her past as an anti-bullying educator hangs over this entire case. A stark reminder of the gap between the values we preach and the choices we make under pressure. The court will ultimately decide Tiffany Griffith's legal fate, but this case forces all of us to think about a difficult scenario and ask what we might have done in her shoes, and at what point a parent's protection turns into a public danger.